All right, let's move on. We're going to talk about the Bengals and the 49ers right now. Bengals head to the Bay Area, take on the 49ers. People want to know what's up with the big salad. Can you count on anything this week?
I still have confidence. I still have confidence in the produce that it will regain its form of crispiness.
I doubt it.
And health.
I doubt it.
I mean,
I feel like the defense for the Bengals has to step up in light of Dalton's absence, and I'm not excited about Drone.
We were never excited about Drone except for last week.
Right, because you're never excited to eat your vegetables.
That's why he's the big salad. But we saw a level of success when Arizona went into the Bay Area. I mean, we saw Drone getting all the snaps, all the touches, and he's that 50-50 guy. If he can give you 50-50, you're very, very happy with that production level, and I think he could get there. The Bengals don't scare me to the point of he can't get 50-50.
You have to start one running back for the Bengals, and his name is
Jeremy Hill. Go with Hill.
It's Jeremy Hill for me too.
Go with Hill.
It's Jeremy Hill for me too. Would you flex him?
Hill?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Would you put him in as a 2?
Yes.
Okay. So that's a decent level of confidence.
Well, there's a decent level of confidence. There's also been a clearing out and destruction of running backs of value.
I do want to remind people
that plays into it.
I want to remind people that Vance McDonald should be back this week for San Francisco. Deep leagues, if you needed a deep league streamer at tight end, he was very productive before the concussion.
Yes.
And, he was hyped up a little bit, and then he got concussed, and you just haven't seen him. He should be back out there. You're starting A.J. Green. Would you start Marvin Jones with A.J. McCarron?
Yeah, maybe at a flex. But you're hoping for a touchdown.
All right, the Broncos head to Pittsburgh taking on the Steelers. This is the Osweiler-Roethlisberger battle.
I take it you're not playing anybody else from San Francisco?
No.
I mean, Bolden's had a couple good games.
I'm not. No, I'm not. I mean, I don't know. You may expound on my deep distrust for the San Francisco offense?
Just asking.
Yeah, I mean, there's just too many other options at wide receiver. I'll tell you who I'd play over Bolden. I'd play Tyler Lockett over Bolden.
Oh, yeah.
I might play Jermaine Kearse over Bolden. I probably would, actually.
Oh, come on.
You want that bet?
No.
You don't want Kearse versus Bolden?
No, I do not.
All right.
I just feel bad
that we're even talking about it because you wouldn't let me move on to this other game. All right. Everybody needs to know, is the Denver defense so good that this is going to make Antonio Brown and Martavis Bryant and D'Angelo Williams and Ben Roethlisberger and Heath Miller irrelevant?
No.
Okay.
No.
So disclose their grand relevance.
Well, it certainly caps the ceiling. They've got this at the wise guys have this at a 44.5 over/under, so they're expecting a lower amount of points. The Steelers are decently favored, so if you take the implied point total for the Steelers, then you're okay. Roethlisberger, we had this. Wait, who did the Broncos play last week? Carr. You sit Carr. You absolutely sit Carr, and you sit all the skill players for Oakland. I'm not going to sit them for Pittsburgh. I'm going to play Ben, assuming you got to find that line, that threshold, so to speak. For me,
you said yours was around
Ryan,
Stafford, right?
I would not play Stafford over Big Ben.
That's what I meant.
For me,
that was
the line where I kind of get wavy is a Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's been great the last 3 weeks. Do I play Ryan Fitzpatrick over Big Ben? And I lean yes, but that's really, really fuzzy right there for me right now.
Okay, so Antonio Brown, I've told everybody keep him out there. But what about
start? Yes.
Here's the problem that a lot of people have. They're worried about stacking Steelers. They're worried about, okay, I've got Brown and Bryant, or I've got D. Will and Antonio Brown. So as an owner, do you hedge your bets to where, okay, if Denver came out and gave a dominating defensive performance, would you want 2 Steelers out there or not? Like, because how many people are sitting? Would you sit? Let's say you had D'Angelo Williams and Antonio Brown, and you have the option of putting Denard Robinson out there instead of D'Angelo Williams.
That's
or Allen Hurns out there instead of Antonio Brown.
Brown is the Denard Robinson one.
By the way,
that's a
Yeldon
tough
is
one.
officially doubtful. We'll just presume him out
Okay.
for this conversation.
The Robinson, that's a tough one. If I'm going with Brown and D'Angelo Williams and Denard Robinson is an option where you can kind of not overcommit to that offense.
Well, that's the question. Can you
still
protect yourself?
I would still go with both of the Steelers though.
Okay. Well, people want to know that. That's the question that they have. I mean, it's a tough thing.
That's tough.
You also have people who have a lot of Steelers. They're owned by a lot of people, and the Denver defense. And my advice to people with the Denver defense and Steelers is to find another defense. This game's in Pittsburgh. If you think your offense has a chance, and you've got Houston sitting out there on the waiver wire, or somebody else that's viable, I would start a different defense. I would not put myself in the position where I'm going to, cut off my nose to spite my face, if that makes sense.
What about the Patriots? Would you play the Patriots over?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'd play the Patriots defense over Denver if I was in that boat. So
I would not stack Brown and Bryant.
Okay. Yeah. 2 wide receivers facing a defense has given up 2 wide receiver touchdowns for the season.
If hopefully you have another option. That's where I would draw the line.
All right, my start of the week is in this game, and that is Heath Miller. I love Heath Miller in this game. The short passing routes, caught 10 of 10 targets last week. Seems to be back. Make sure he's healthy. Make sure he's starting, but I like Heath Miller. On the other side of the ball, Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, any problems with them?
No.
Vernon Davis. What are your thoughts on Vernon Davis?
My thoughts on Vernon Davis are
I do recall them from Sunday.
okay.
Stop running backwards. Is that part of it?
Mr. Davis, just go forward. There's a fish character in a movie that my youngest son makes me watch every single day, and the motto of that fish is to just keep swimming forward. The forward is implied.
Sure. But not for Vernon.
Please stop trying to wheel around and get an extra 5 yards.
3 or 4 catches where he caught the ball in the middle of the field and then wheeled backwards around.
It was just silliness.
All right, let's talk about the Dolphins and the Chargers. We have to move on. We got 3 more matchups. We got the mailbag. All right. Can you start Phillip Rivers? I want to know.
Oh, man. You can?
I think you answered no. I think that was answering the word no. Dontel Inman will be back. I don't expect Stevie Johnson. We don't have great options. We've had 3 or 4 games where Rivers has scored 0 touchdowns. Find somebody else.
Yeah, you
Find
gotta
somebody
find
else.
somebody. That is
He
so,
could have a great game, but
it's so disappointing.
well, because the schedule is lining up for him.
Yeah,
But he lost the weapons. The team is obviously competing for the number 1 pick at this point. So Rivers is out. Gordon and Woodhead is done. Woodhead retired 4 weeks ago.
ridiculous.
Forced retirement from the offense because they want to give Gordon the ball.
Which I understand it. I think it's fair that your number 1 pick, you spent a high pick on Melvin Gordon, that you want to get him going. I actually think that Gordon is an okay
I do.
lower running back this week because the
Bryce Brown or Melvin Gordon?
Gordon.
Okay.
For sure.
So Gordon and Gates are the 2 guys you could start here.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Other side of the ball, Lamar Miller. We made a bet.
Oh.
Was it on the Join the Foot mailbag show?
We made a Lamar Miller bet?
Jason
you
and I did with carries.
You and Jason made a Lamar Miller over-under 15 carries water bet.
Yeah, and I feel okay about that still. I think they're very foolish if they don't give him more than that. The Dolphins are 4-0 this year when Lamar Miller's had more than 15 touches. The problem is that they've decided that they don't want to give him that. Because
the problem is they've decided
that might not
they don't like to win.
I don't know if that's 4-0 this year or over the last 2 years, but when they give him the ball, he seems to produce. We see it on the field, but they've decided he can't handle a big workload, or they've decided that they want to be, I don't blame them where they're at trying to figure out what they have in Ajayi because he's cost control for 3 years. Lamar Miller is somebody who's a free agent, and I don't think he's coming back.
But even Ajayi didn't get work last week.
Well, yeah, he was on the field for a couple drives, and Damian Williams was out there. I mean, there were work and snaps, I guess, is a different thing.
Yeah, okay.
But they were sharing snaps.
When I say work, I mean actually physically touching the ball. But
Sure.
There's other things involved, I guess, than not.
So we said if Landry's healthy, you start him. Let's say Landry.
Yes.
Let's pretend Landry misses Because as of right now, he missed yesterday's practice after being limited. If he's out, do you bump up? Rashard Matthews might be back on the field. You got
really?
Yeah.
Wow, Matthews.
And you got Devontae Parker, who disappointed people last week.
Oh man. I would.
So how do you even read that? What is going on here? What in the world? You find it so funny when
I do. I don't know why it's so funny. Oh man, I just need to try and find some information. And then you get a movie trailer.
Well, this website that I rely on for my news occasionally has never had an autoplay video. And now I pull it up and I get an autoplay video.
They gotcha.
Yeah, so Rashard Matthews was limited on Thursday, so he could be back out there. Probably will be. That would be my gut. So is there anybody that you would start? Would you take a flyer with Parker if Landry was out?
Yes, I would.
18 targets has to go somewhere, right?
I would still take the flyer on him. If Landry is out, I will not play Tannehill. If Landry is in, I think Tannehill is an okay last resort streaming option.
So you answer my question. Cardinals, Eagles, Sunday Night Football. Carson Palmer, locked and loaded. Put him in. Head towards your semifinal victory with Carson Palmer.
Absolutely.
All right. I just needed a little bit of an endorsement there.
Oh yeah. You have to have confidence in the Cardinals offense because one, they're the highest scoring offense in the league. Two, we've seen the Eagles in recent games just get destroyed through the passing game.
24th against the run right now. 24th against the pass. 28th against the run. The Eagles defense. They've coughed up 161.5 rushing yards per game over the last 4 weeks, and you mix that in with
David Johnson.
Johnson.
Sorry, I was reading a different stat. Got caught up.
So no, you're good. So David Johnson is a
must start.
David Johnson or D'Angelo Williams?
David Johnson.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do. We have David Johnson as our consensus number 4 this week, based on what we see in this matchup. I have him at 3. Jason has him at 4. You have him a little bit lower. The only guys I had above him were Gurley, McCoy, and Peterson. So that being said, David Johnson, juicy matchup, Sunday Night Football, all the carries, no Ellington. I love it.
Yeah, you just look towards last week that David Johnson had a very strong game against Minnesota. Now, Minnesota's defense was a little depleted, but you add on top of that David
2 near touchdowns.
David Johnson was a fraction away from having a monster game.
Yeah, you can start him confidently. Now, the other side of the ball, the Cardinals have held 6 of their last 7 opponents to under 100 rushing yards, and you already have a mess in the backfield in Philadelphia. That being said, we have 2 starts of our week in this game. We have Darren Sproles being one of them.
Yes.
Explain that again.
So Darren Sproles.
Why do you like Darren Sproles in this game?
Darren Sproles is the guy that I like because the Cardinals can't handle edge speed. They can't handle really edge plays, period, where that's where Minnesota did the damage. I'll say but a lot of people thought the same way I did last week that Minnesota was going to get shut down. But they had a fantastic game plan to exploit Arizona's.
In the very beginning of the game.
Well, and even towards the end.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right, because they had those underneath crossing routes.
Just getting tight end screens, just getting things out to the edge
Yep.
caused a problem for Arizona. Now, I assume that Chip Kelly will have noticed these things, and he's been kind of leaning on Darren Sproles anyways the last few weeks. You get Sproles with that speed to the edge, that can create a problem. We saw Giovani Bernard have a great game against Arizona because he creates that similar matchup problem. So now, when I say he's my start of the week, he's still a little bit lower in the rankings. The upside is tremendous for Sproles. It's not like I'm saying, let me pull up my rankings here. I'm not saying like a Jeremy. We were just talking about Jeremy Hill, a guy I like. Am I saying play Sproles over Jeremy Hill? No, I'm not going that level. Just saying that. That Sproles in your flex is a great upside guy to have in that position. As long as you have a nice foundation, then Sproles is a great play for you.
I agree with you. He's got opportunity in that offense, and he catches the ball really helpful in PPR leagues. Really like the other start of the week is Michael Floyd. Love Michael Floyd.
Yeah.
Arians came out yesterday. said Floyd's playing at an elite level, just affirming what our eyeballs already told us about Michael Floyd. Love him this week, starting him over a lot of guys this week. That being said, roll out the entire offensive force for the Cardinals.
Yep.
Because you don't know necessarily. You saw it last week. Brown, 65-yard touchdown. Floyd had a long touchdown. Fitzgerald had a disappointing game. He hasn't been in the end zone lately. He's the guy at the bottom of that list for me, but I still think he has the opportunity.
Yeah, and we've when I was looking up Fitzgerald's stuff, he's actually been a much more of a force when he's on the road, and I think that's just a thing of leaning on the veteran in a situation where Brown, Floyd. I guess Floyd's pretty much a veteran now at this point, but Brown's still a younger guy. Get that wily veteran going in Larry Fitzgerald and move the ball down the field.
Totally agree. All right, Lions-Saints, Monday Night Football game, primetime Drew Brees. Woo! He likes to light it up. A lot of confidence here, especially Lions giving up. Giving up might be the just best way to sum it up. I mean, I don't want to – I've been, duly impressed and not impressed with that offense and that team because they came back. They came back from a bad start, showed a lot of resilience, and then flowed right back into kind of, after the Hail Mary, really. You just wonder if they just said, all right, this is not our year. We were eliminated from the playoffs on that play. They got beat up last week against St. Louis.
Which we saw St. Louis beat up the Tampa Bay Bucks pretty bad. So
I know, and they're such an enigmatic team as well.
Yeah, they're very up and down.
They beat the Cardinals this year. The Cardinals have 2 losses. One of them was to St. Louis. So Drew Brees, love him. Hightower, love him. 28 carries. A guy, the volume, the reliance on him. They don't have a lot to lose leaning on him. It's not like he's getting worn down from not playing in the last 5 years.
Yeah, that's a valid point because I'm thinking, do they want to do that again where they just give Hightower an extreme volume? Now, a lot of that was game flow where they were running out of clock, but
they might be doing that again.
They have nothing to lose by letting Hightower do that. Just run him into the ground, and for Hightower, it's even better for let me have a chance here so I can see if I can stay in the league a couple more years.
I don't want to. One of the things I've always said, especially over the last few weeks, is don't overplay the matchup. Play the talent. You need to pay attention to the matchup. Just don't overplay it. Don't just say, okay, Stafford's playing the Saints. The Saints suck, so Stafford's a locked and loaded number 1. I know some people like him a lot this week. I'm not of that. I don't believe that.
Really?
I don't.
Do you?
I put him at the end of the 1 category because
so you
of the
still
matchup.
like him?
Yes, but I don't think he's got as much. Yes, he has upside, but I don't think he's as safe as people think he is in this matchup. The Saints over the last 4 weeks haven't been exactly. They haven't been giving it up to the wide receiver Calvin Johnson to the same degree that they had been. And this is a primetime game at home for the Saints defense. They've improved on certain levels. I just don't think it's an automatic thing. We saw Megatron struggle last week. You have to start him in this matchup. I get that.
Yes.
You're not sitting Megatron down, but Golden Tate's a guy.
I love
target numbers have been there.
I
okay
love
with
Golden
him.
Tate. 9 catches, 8 catches, 7, 8.
So
that's his last 4 weeks.
Do you agree with me or do you disagree?
I agree with you that.
What's your feeling about the Saints defense right now? I know they're not anywhere near the top of the league, but
I agree with you in the fact that I have Stafford as a lower 1. I'm not. It's not like the week of Kirk Cousins where they were in the midst of
Rob Ryan
of meltdown, where he said, "Okay, Kirk Cousins, he's the next man up," and he ignited them with 4 touchdowns. I think Stafford could still have a good game, and this if you're just trying to look for matchup of points, this very well could become that because of we know that Brees is going to put up points. I guess a question of concern for the Saints is Darius Slay against Brandon Cooks, if that's what they choose to do, if they're going to shadow him at all, because Darius Slay has been fantastic in the last few weeks. So there is a concern of that. Is that going to stop me from playing Brandon Cooks? No, not even close.
And we will no doubt talk about this game at greater length on Monday, implications for people and their fantasy teams and who we like.